yeah, I knew you were going to bring that bullshit up. That's why I
Jack
use the
Daniels. So everybody don't know
Oh,
Jack
blah,
Daniels. When you
blah,
show up for the
blah,
Jack
blah,
Daniels
blah.
compete,
Oh, here
they
we go with that
inspect your
bullshit.
pit
Hypothetical.
Welcome to Cue the Mic.
Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you're listening to us from. I'm Randy Twyford, and that's the one and only Darren Worth, and this is episode We Really Don't Give a Fuck. If you want to know what episode...
we don't know because Emma's going to tell us it's wrong anyway, so whatever, it doesn't matter what episode it is.
It's just an episode, so it's kind of like Darren and I were talking about at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time in Illinois. Life comes to a halt out here at World Headquarters because GH, or General Hospital, comes on. And as Darren said, it's like time goes through the hourglass, so does the days of our lives.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
So that's kind of the way this podcast is. What difference does it make what episode it is? It's just sand through the hourglass, or our bullshit going through the airwaves, if you want to know the truth. So.
Well, yeah, and so what's special is, we're glad you're here, but what's really special is, this one's dropping. This one's dropping on Christmas Day.
So we're the little packages
Monday,
everybody's going to get.
We're the package. I'm sure everybody's going to skip. They're probably going to listen to their podcast before they even think about opening their packages.
They're going to go, why do we want to listen to those numb nuts? We got better things to do. or it'll be Christmas afternoon and they'll go, I've had enough of this fucking family. I listened to those two nitwits for a while, just ramble on about bullshit, so.
Bullshit. You're exactly right. Yeah, so of course we never plan anything. So, we never have a topic.
Wait a second.
So what?
I thought we were going to tell people that we're like a well-oiled machine, and we plan out on several times during the week, and we have strategy meetings and stuff like. Well, if anybody knows us, they know we're blowing smoke up their ass, so we might as well forget that one. So,
well, and so I did do some pre-planning this morning in the shower as I was thinking about Randy, and
oh, geez, that kind of creeps me out.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So anyway, I was sitting there going, I wonder if people would be, because it's always like, what's the customer want to hear, right? Because the customer's always right. And I'm like, I wonder if they'd want to hear about the day in the life, right? Because we do the same thing. Randy and I do the same thing, but we do it on two totally different. His day is not like my day, right? And I think it may be interesting for me to pick your brain about your day, and you can pick my brain about my day, about what's our day really look like? Do we just really sit in our executive offices all day long and with our fake backdrops? And oh, never mind.
Yeah,
you're a little wrinkled today, Randy, on the backdrop, but that's okay.
Well, it's getting close to the holidays.
Okay. But anyway, I thought it would be kind of fun, and we'll go on tangents like we always do. It'd be kind of fun to talk about the day.
Okay.
Right. What's a typical day? Now, all days are different. We understand that. But if you were to call anything a typical day, Randy, let's start with you. So, your day starts, you get out of bed about 9 o'clock?
9:30. 9:30.
9:30?
Yeah. So, yeah. But no, and I'm going to put a typical day as a day when, I've got the food truck out and we're doing catering.
Yeah.
Because that's more of a typical day. That typical day starts the night before, of when I'll get everything staged and stuff on carts to put on the pit in the next morning. Because I'll get up, and then this is very anti David Knight. David Knight's the guy that owns Old Hickory Pits, and he has a shit every time I tell this. But I have my pits set on Christmas tree light. It's Christmas tree timers.
Christmas tree timer. I knew you were going there.
Yeah, I have my pits set on, and I've actually got a digital one now. It's a little heavier duty. I used to have it just on those little ones that you would have, and David's like, "God damn, you're going to burn them fuckers up. You're going to burn them up. Don't tell people that." Well, I've got a little heavier duty one, but the reason I do that is I have it set to come on at like 3:30 in the morning, and I'll set the pit to 250. And so when I get up and go out there at about 4:15, the pit's already up to temp. So I don't have to put cold meat into a cold pit and have everything try to come up at the same time. It's going up, it's already up to temp and stuff. So anyway, I'll get up and I'm usually
out. What time you getting out of bed?
I get up at 4.
Okay, get up at 4.
I'll get up at 4 and I'll go out and I'll get everything going. And then I'll go out and be out the kitchen probably about 4:30, 20 to 5, and start putting the stuff that I have on that we're going to use that day, especially in the truck, because that truck has to be out of the driveway at 9 o'clock in the morning, because the truck is going to be ready, has to be ready to go, start serving at 11 o'clock. So I'll put the meat and like the beans on at 9, and then we're taking and putting all of our sides in the real extra deep stainless steel half pans. So we're putting, I think, 16 pounds of potatoes and mac and cheese in each one of those pans. So it takes a while for that stuff to cook. So we've got the CVAP ovens. So I go in, turn those CVAP ovens on, and put that in there and turn it on for 2.5 hours. Now it's heating up. So we're doing the heat up time in there, but it's cooking. So then I get everything loaded in, and then I'm done. So usually I'll go to the gym or go to the office or whatever.
So in that, was there any coffee? Was there any shower and shave
before I go
prior to that?
Before I go, a lot of times before I come out to the depends if I'm going to the gym or not. If I'm going to the gym, I'll come out and do all that and then go to the gym. And then I'll be back home at 6:15. And then I'll shower and eat breakfast and have coffee. Well, no, on the way home from the gym, I go by Casey's and get a coffee. You should know that. So
get yourself a coffee.
Yeah, and then I'll stop at, then come home. And so then my sides are starting to come off are ready at 7:30. And so, and the meat and things that I'm rethermalizing are getting ready. They're ready to go. So at that point, I'll start pulling stuff off of the pit and pulling stuff out of the oven and putting it in. 8 o'clock, my guys that are helping me, they'll be coming in and they'll start loading that stuff onto the truck, because I've already turned on the warmers and things on the food truck. So they're going to start loading that stuff into the food truck. At that point,
so you've made a round. So you're going out, you got the equipment turning on, you're throwing shit in, you go through the food truck, kind of a daily routine of go out and turn on the lights and, just run through everything.
Yeah, everything's on. When I'm out there the first round, everything gets turned on, steam wells, the warmers in the truck and everything. So everything's up to temp. Then everything starts getting loaded. As soon as stuff gets loaded, then stuff for catering gets put in the ovens and the pit for caterings, because typically they aren't going to be going out until 10:30, 11 o'clock. If there's earlier ones, they may go.
So what decides not to go too far off here? But what's deciding what goes in the oven versus what goes in the pit?
Just kind of my judgment call.
So side dishes are normally in the oven. Meat's usually in the pit.
And meat's in the pit, unless we've got a big catering. Now, side dishes for the food truck always go into the CVAP oven, the Winston Industries CVAP oven. They not the regular oven. They go into the CVAP oven.
Yeah. Hey, Randy, I
Yeah.
had somebody ask me this week wanting to know if we, we're taking on sponsors. And I'm like, hell no, we ain't taking on sponsors. And they said, shit, Randy's always talking about Old Hickory Pits and Chef IQ and thought it was a damn commercial. And here you're talking about Winston CVAP.
Well, didn't you get your free oven this year? Yeah, well, don't we wish?
Yeah, right. No, but what I told him was, I told him, I said, we just love to talk about things that we love.
And right? That work good.
And Winston CVAP, I don't think from a retherm standpoint, if you can afford it, I don't think there's a better. No. And we use them to a 10th of their capability. But
exactly.
From a retherm standpoint, totally amazing from cooking side
and for people that need to want,
totally amazing.
And people that haven't been around them, they cook with heat and moisture and air. So they've got all those three ingredients in there, and just do don't dry out, and that they're not cheap. They're not cheap, but they just do such a hellacious job. But anyway, the side items for the food truck go in the Winston CVAP oven, and go in there. Now, if I'm doing, if we've got a big catering, we've got so many more. We do a lot of baking in. We've got 2 Old Hickory ELDXs. We'll do a lot of baking in our outside EDX pit, because I can put 16 pans of 16 full-size pans of like potato casserole, and bake them in there, turn it up to 300 degrees, and I can have them done in 2.5 hours. And and it's brown and pretty and stuff. So for larger caterings, I'll use the ELDX to do mac and cheese, potato casserole.
Hey, Randy. Hey, Randy.
Yeah.
The question I just have to ask about bacon in the ELDX. Are you able to get the pan onto the shelf without the stringy stuff from the top rack dragging through?
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Well, remember that rule they had at the Jack Daniels?
I knew you were going to bring that bullshit up. That's why I use the
Jack Daniels, so everybody don't know Jack Daniels. When you show up for the Jack Daniels compete,
here we go with that bullshit.
Your pit
Hypothetical.
Because hypothetical, no bullshit. One year we're at the Jack Daniels, and Randy goes to open his pit, and he's cooking on a backwoods competitor at that point. And he opens up the pit, and the scallywags, whatever you call them, the drippings that have hardened, were so much off the top shelf they were almost down to the bottom shelf. And it hadn't been cleaned in years. I knew it hadn't been cleaned. He called it seasoning. Well, now we have the Jack rule. I call it the Twyford rule. And so I was wondering, do you keep one ELEDX? Because they can get pretty dirty quick. Do you keep one just clean for side dishes and one for cooking meat? Or are you worried about that dripping into your, the drip, even if they're somewhat dirty or not even that dirty? Are you worried about them dripping into your mac and your taters?
I keep one clean.
I thought maybe you kept one clean.
The outside one.
But I tell you what, that Old Hickory.
The outside one doesn't get much like ribs with sauce and stuff like that. Pork steak. Things like that.
Yeah, I think that Old Hickory is not only a hell of a cooker, I think it's a hell of a rethermer too. Because we've been running the last few days. We've been running 30, 32 caterings a day out the door, and of course we only have so much oven space. So we've had 2 of them rolling. From the time I get there in the morning to till after lunch, that are just flipping through that, boy. And I tell you what, the way it turns out those sides, it's just it's a delicate heat, but
it really is
about them pans slipping off.
Well,
I worry about them pans slipping off in it. So
I've only got one other person that I really trust to load the pans in there. And other than her, I like to be the person loading the pans.
Right.
So
maybe we ought to invent something. That's the way my mind thought. What about a bungee cord that would go across the top and tie it to the rack? So if that rack got swinging, at least it would keep the pan on there instead of making
it's still going to be a multi-car pileup, because once they get to swinging and stuff and they get going, it's a clusterfuck pileup in there. And
if you've ever owned an Old Hickory, I guarantee if you've ever owned a rotisserie, you have clean beans and all kinds of shit out of the bottom of that after that sumbitch got swinging.
Yeah. So then, so the boys would be out, and I'd have my foot in their ass, and they got pretty good at it, because I wanted that truck out of there at 9:00, going to Springfield. If it was here in Jacksonville, it didn't have to be, because we would open. But I like to be at a location an hour before we would open, to be set up, and just so we're there. If something happens, say the fryer doesn't start, has problems, or just when you think you got everything done, that's when something will fuck up on you, and
right,
or you forget that you don't have the fire stick with you, or something like that, So, and then I would go on and do the caterings, or maybe have one of them. If it was a very big catering, 9 times out of 10, I'd just do it myself. And then they would go ahead and do the food truck, and then they would go till 1:30, and then come back home, and they'd break the truck down, and it would get completely cleaned, swept, mopped, everything wiped down, and then chances are I'd be back home by then too, and get all the catering stuff put away, whatever. Because most of our caterings aren't delivering; they're regular setting up a buffet, and that. So now that all changes.
Okay, so you're done. So you're right.
Now things have changed since football season's back, and everybody's back in school. We're not having the truck out now. A typical day now is still getting up the same time, getting up early and going out the kitchen, but the truck's not going out, but I'm just doing all the catering and stuff by myself. Not that I'm a Superman or anything, but I just don't have any help. And I'll get things put together, and Marla will go one direction and I'll go to another one, or whatever, so.
Okay, so you got back, truck's been out, truck's back, they're cleaning up, you're back cleaning up. We're at 2:00, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Then you got to have, it's like if you've ever had a horse and buggy. If you're driving a horse and buggy and you're holding back on the reins, trying to keep the horse from going away from you, that's the way you got to be. You got to keep your eyes on the door. Get the fuck back in here. Is that done? Because they're wanting to get out of there. It's come on, get back in there. Settle down there. So, and did you get things wrapped and ready to go? No, I haven't got that. Get that on a cart. But so I don't have to do it later on that afternoon and stuff. So then, and again, after a few times, they get pretty good. They were really good. The crew I had this summer was fantastic. And all the crews I've had have been really good. All the Illinois college guys and girls. And then they'll have everything prepped and stuff on carts and stuff. So then when things start again the next morning at 4:15, 20 after 4, after the Christmas tree timers have turned on and got everything warmed up, then I'll be ready to go. And the other thing, I miss the fact if I'm cooking ribs, or of course we're always cooking baked beans, and I call them pit smoked baked beans. I know this sounds stupid, but it's something I picked up from Mark Bourne, Grandpa Cheese. As one day I forget where we were at, and he was eating one of his guys' ass out for not doing it. But letting the pit come up to temp, and then putting wood on after the pit comes up to temp and you get everything loaded. Well, I like to do that anyway because then you're not fighting the smoke. Put everything on and then put your wood in. But the fact of letting your pit be up to temp and then putting your wood in, because then you're not fighting, you're not burning up all your wood with the pit coming up to temp. You follow me?
Oh, these guys. Oh, yeah. No, these guys in the kitchen. So, when we're cooking, because our pits are inside, right? So our pits are inside, but the wood and everything, so they come through the wall.
Right.
So, about once or twice a week, I'll walk through. And so when we do short cooks, we don't want to waste a whole log, right? So we cut our logs in half. So we'll do a 3, 4 inch, 5 inch log or whatever. And we'll cut those in half with a little electric chainsaw, which I probably need to buy another one because we haven't broke one in about 6 months, and we get 2 a year every year, And Christmas is coming. I might get a new chainsaw. But anyway, we cut that there, and when we cook our sausage or chicken or whatever, we throw 1.5 of them logs in instead of using a full log. So save a little money on your wood bill.
Right.
And we probably should be doing thirds, but that's okay. So anyway, you walk into the kitchen, and we don't have any exhaust hoods or anything over these pits. And I'll walk in, and the guy's trying to take sausage out or something out, a short cook. And there's just smoke bellowing throughout the kitchen. And everybody and their brother is sitting there choking. I'm like, come here, walk around. We got a pair of tongs that we go in the back. I said, see why this is smoking?
But they have to go outside, right? They have to go outside, right?
You gotta go, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's 20 steps. So I take it and I'll go figure out what's cooking in the other one, and I'll throw it in the other one. And if everything's cooking, then you're supposed to go throw it outside in the ELDX outside and just throw it in the firebox and let it burn out. But I mean, it does help with the ambiance of the smoke.
Right.
Throughout, because that spreads throughout the restaurant. I mean, we used to do that. I remember a quick story when we opened up Cody's Smokehouse in Sioux Falls. And it was so sterile, the environment. When you open a barbecue restaurant, it's just sterile. It doesn't smell like barbecue. And so every day before opening, and I was there the first couple of weeks when we opened, and that was a partnership deal we did. But anyway, every day I'd go take a half a log and I'd throw it in the smoker for about 5-10 minutes. And then I said, I need a metal bucket. What do you need a metal bucket for? I'd go grab that log and I'd grab it and I'd walk through the restaurant and I'd smoke the piss out of that restaurant for the first 2 weeks.
Sure.
I'd just fill that dining room full of smoke an hour before people showed up. And then people would walk in the door when we opened at 11 and went, holy shit, that smells good in here. And that's what people, we did the same thing for years at the Skywalk. When we opened our Skywalk location,
I know
smokers
that.
down there. We're retherming everything, right? I took a little Cook Shack electric smoker down there, and I'd cut these little 1/2 inch by 1 inch pieces of wood. And I found out that at 9 o'clock every morning, people would go on break from their corporate job, and they'd start walking through, getting their exercise through the Skywalk. Right before that, I'd put a little chunk on that electric smoker, and it would be enough that it would puff up and get into the ventilation system. Well, our ventilation system shared the Skywalk. So we'd put smoke that smell throughout the Skywalk for a city block. And that's what you want people making their lunchtime decision. They go on breakfast.
Sure.
And they smell that smoke and, whoa, that smells good. I'm having Smoky D's for lunch.
Well, and I don't remember.
I don't remember sidebar, but we choke it down.
I don't remember where it was at. Marla and I went someplace to a barbecue restaurant, and it was a ways from here, and not even, I don't think it was even in Illinois or wherever, but it was supposedly a good barbecue place. And we walked in it, and it smelled like a hospital. Yeah. I mean, and it's like, there's no smoke smell in here. What the hell's going on?
I want my bathroom to smell like a hospital, but I want my restaurant to smell like a barbecue restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so anyway, you're done. 2:30, 3 o'clock. Back to the day in the life.
Yeah. 2:30, 3 o'clock. We, everybody's kind of came back to nest. We're getting things cleaned back up, getting everything ready to go for the next day. And typically by 4 o'clock, between 4 and 5, everybody's out of there and back home or wherever they go. Right. And I'm usually just kind of tying up loose ends and stuff like that or whatever. So
then you're heading for the house. Now Randy's lucky in that his place of business is right outside his front door.
You may call it lucky, but sometimes unlucky. So
exactly. But he's right there. So then he's, you're heading. I'm assuming you're heading for the house at 4:30, and you probably haven't. Have you had any lunch or no? Have you had any breakfast or not?
Oh, well, now, Darren, come on. Breakfast, I always have. I've always eaten breakfast. Lunch is just kind of whatever, if I'm on the truck, I'll have a chicken sandwich or something like that, and depending where I'm at, if I'm some places I can get some Chester's fried chicken, I'll hook up some Chester's fried chicken or something like that. Or if we're
so on the way back you're pulling in the catering van and pulling up and getting some Chester's.
Well, no, if I'm in the food truck or if we're in the food truck someplace, we're trading food if we're doing an event with another food truck or something, I'm doing trading food with them. But the other thing that just kind of dawned on me, the most important thing job that I do that we didn't go over is sell more catering, sell more food truck opportunities and things like that, all during this whole time period from, I may get phone calls starting at 7 o'clock or emails, and I'll always try to sit down of a morning before, usually between 6:30 and 7:15, I'll try to sit down and return all my emails. Yeah, I'll go through my emails. I have this big phobia about letting emails set for over a day. Like I'm doing some caterings and stuff today and that, but tonight I'll go through my emails, and if any emails have come in that I didn't get to this evening and come in tonight, I'll get to in the morning. And then starting at 8 o'clock, I'm calling people back if I've missed their phone call. And that's another thing I do. I picked up some business. I actually picked up 2 caterings today. 2 different people called and they didn't leave a message, and it was a local number. Both of them were Springfield numbers, and I could tell it wasn't spam. It was a name. So I called back and it went to their voicemail. Hey, this is Randy Twyford. Saw you'd called. I missed your phone call. If there's something we can do for you, give me a call back. Boom. One was for 45 people and another one was for 70 people after the first of the year. They were just wanting to get it done off their desk before they left for Christmas. So, right. And then I've been booking. The surprising thing is how many things I've been booking the food truck for already. And we've got quite a few things booked up into the summer, for bigger events and stuff. And then, then the thing, my biggest challenge is the different medias. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but the different ways I get information is.
Well, I think it would be not media, it would be mediums
that I get communication from customers, prospects, and that is whether it's an email, a phone call with a voicemail, a text message, messenger. I get some people with WhatsApp, send me WhatsApp and that. And so it's got to be, you got to go through and check all of them, because sure as you don't check one, you're going to miss them. And just like text messages, if I'm out driving and somebody calls and, hey, can you do a catering for me? I'll ask them. I said, could you just text me the details? And so every evening I go through all my text messages and, okay, so-and-so. And then I put it into Total Party Planner, our booking software that we use for booking caterings and stuff. So during the summertime, the guys, they kind of get laughing at me, and I think they kind of get annoyed because I may be helping them do something and my phone rings, kind of like yours, and they're just like, God damn, his phone rings again. It rings, and there's some days it just, and thank God it does, because if it didn't, we'd be in deep shit. So,
right.
So that's a thing from beginning to end that's constantly going on. So
it's constantly going on. So it's 4:30, 5 o'clock. You're heading for the house.
Yeah, and usually going into the office, my office.
So when are you making your decision about what's for dinner?
Well, that's what we're going to have for supper, you mean?
Yeah.
That'll be when I hit the door. What do you want to do for supper? And then I'll go, I don't care. What do you want to do for supper? Well, that wasn't what then we have that conversation for a while. And, and
the biggest indecision decision making of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what's for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then during that same time period, during the day, it's, my guys have been really good. I've got a grocery board. I call it the grocery board. And, my whole kitchen's, probably like yourself, got noodle board on it that you can use dry erase boards, dry erase markers on, you can write on. And so we got one section of it there by the door where if something's getting low, they write on the board that we're getting low on this, getting low on that. So, keeping track, so we getting stuff ordered and that. So
see, we have a totally different inventory method at Smoky D's. Yeah, I mean, we follow you got your LIFO and your FIFO, and you got the whiteboard. We have the OSWO inventory, the oh shit, we're out inventory.
Oh, well, and I would like to say, and we do that some, but I've pretty well everybody's pretty well on board that if they go in and get a case of potato cubes for potato casserole, and it's the last one there, they're going to write on the board, or if it's the second, there's 2 cases left, they'll take and write on the board, we need potato casserole. And,
right.
And, or say if there's 4 cans of cream of chicken soup left, they'll go, okay, or a few cans left of, cheddar cheese sauce, they'll put it on the board, and then I'll double check and go, okay, well, we don't have much going on, so we don't need it. And then that's when we get all fucked up, and then we'll run out. So
then somebody place a last minute catering order, and then you run out, and then you got to run to town and pay twice as much.
Well, and that's the advantage we got is we're not too far away from our supplier, so. I say not too far. We're 30 minutes.
And you got the GFS food store, right?
We don't get very much at all from there.
You don't, but you have that outlet. See, we don't have one of those in Des Moines. So, our purveyor comes out of Quad Cities. So we're 2.5 hours away from our food purveyor.
Oh, okay.
And it works out great. I mean, we get 6 trucks a week. We do enough volume to get 6 trucks a week. But, if we need something that didn't come in out of stock, which doesn't happen very often, we got Cisco up the street that we can go do a will call. I hate doing that. I'd rather, get in bed with my sister rather than go Cisco.
Right.
That's just my attitude against them. But anyway, so
why is that?
But
why
you can
why
react.
is that? Why is that?
Oh, they just many years ago I sent out a pricing bid when I first started taking over the financial part of the business when I had a partner. And when we started there, and I went in and started doing all this analysis, and Cisco responded back to me, and I said, here's my spreadsheet. Don't change my spreadsheet. Just put your prices in. And if pack size is any different, I need you to make a note out to the side. So I sent it to all these purveyors, and half of them come back and sent me their price list. I'm like, well, you're out because you can't follow instructions. And Cisco decided in their infinite wisdom that they were going to make some hidden columns and do all their profit calculations in those hidden columns.
And they didn't realize they were dealing with Mr. Excel.
They didn't realize that they were dealing with somebody that knew how to run a spreadsheet. So I opened up their spreadsheet and I'm like, wow, this is weird. A, B, F.
I remember this. I remember this.
Right. And so I go through and I looked at all their profit analysis and what they were making off of this. And I mean, they were raping us. I mean, they were like making 25% margin on us. It was crazy. And I didn't know any different. I was new to the restaurant business, and my ex-partner, he just ordered there because he had a relationship. So anyway, but they had proposed an 18% margin because that was in their calculation. And so I said, I gave them April Fool's Day. I said, well, effective April Fool, you're out. And they're going, what do you mean we're out? And I said, yeah, you're just making way too much money. And, it's just your pricing isn't very good. Well, how do you know that? I said, well, here, let me show you the spreadsheet you just sent me. And their mouth dropped and they're like, you got to be shitting me. I said, yeah, well, you screwed me before. You're going to screw me again. So it all turned. I'm on vacation down in Louisiana. And the president of Cisco then called me up. The president of the local distribution center called me up and said, I know we screwed up. I know your deal is much better. I tell you what, we will match your deal. We'll match your deal that PFG brought to the table. So much a pound over, so much a case. We'll match your deal, and I will write you a check for $60,000. And I said, you know what? You screwed me before. You're going to screw me again. I'm out. And back then, $60,000 was a lot of money back then.
Right.
And
still is
$60,000 is a lot of money today, actually. But back then, for us, a growing company, $60,000 was a lot. But I knew they were going to pay me $60,000. I wasn't going to get screwed out of it anyway. So
kind of like a dog killing sheep.
We did.
Once they start, they're not going to quit.
That was probably 2010 or 11, maybe.
All right.
And we've been with PFG ever since, and just an amazing thing. So,
we've got a
good relationship.
The main supplier we use is MJ Kellner. They're a local, kind of a Central Illinois, St. Louis supplier, and their warehouse, their only warehouse, is just like 30 minutes from us. So we can just run up there and pick up stuff, and the rep that Jeff, that is the rep that, excuse me, Jeff, that is the rep that calls on us. I mean, if we need something and he's coming this way, he'll bring it over to us. And if it's just a case or two or something, but we're in Springfield about every day anyway, doing caterings. So it's easy for us to do a will call and pick up stuff. So,
okay. So anyway, we're back to dinner time. You're in the house to make a decision whether you're going out for dinner, making dinner, whatever.
Right.
So you get done with dinner. And is that when you turn on Fox News?
It's been on the whole time, Darren.
Oh. Funny thing about Randy, you go into Randy's house, the TV is on Fox News all day long, except for when you switch it over to General Hospital.
GH at 1 to 2.
And I think you watch some other stuff too. You're kind of a dancing. I remember you being a Dancing with the Stars guy.
No, I give up on that. I'm done with it. You're done. I don't watch all that bullshit anymore.
After 15 years, I'm done.
I'm done with Dancing with the Stars. I kind of was hoping they were going to call me because I figured they were getting so far down at the bottom of the barrel that there was a chance of it, and the bastards just.
What are they down to? Happen. Are they down to Mary Lou? Are they down to Mary Lou Retton's twin brother or something like that?
Her third cousin.
Wow.
So
anyway,
no.
you're done with dinner. You sitting in front of TV?
Done with dinner. Chances are I'm back in my office, just kind of going through stuff, going through emails, putting stuff. If I've got anything, following up on any, I'll be in my office till about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then, I mean, depends on what we've got. If I've got what I've got going on, and if I'm going to have time the next morning, which I probably won't, of getting stuff put in the computer and stuff for, or if it's a catering that we're going to have to be doing the next day or two, or figuring out in Total Party Planner what we're going to need, doing, what we're going to need, how much of this, that, and the other we're going to be needing. So.
Okay. So then that's done. Is there a bowl of ice cream in there? Do I remember?
Every now and then. Try not to be as much as it used to be, but not every now and then. So.
Yeah.
Not
what time's bedtime?
I like to go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
And then we start again.
Mixed in. You start at 4 o'clock in the morning. Probably not much downtime unless you don't have a catering, like in the wintertime. You offered today, you said, God, I should come help you, because we're just knocking out, 30, 32 caterings a day for all week long, and he's like, hell, I'm half bored, because you're used to being on the run. And if you don't have a catering and you don't have the food truck out, you're looking for something to do.
But then, as we've talked the other day, I had a guy pick up some stuff this morning at 11 o'clock. We're doing this. Tomorrow I got a delivery in Springfield at 10 o'clock. And then I've got a catering for a funeral tomorrow afternoon. And then Saturday and Sunday I've got pickups for Christmas. People wanting to pick up stuff for Christmas. And then I'm going to have the truck in town. I'm going to debating on whether to take the food truck in town or just take the van in town to have people pick up their stuff, briskets and pork and stuff, and holiday fare for Christmas.
Right.
We don't have a lot, so I could do it in the van, but might be just as easy to take the food truck in. So.
Right.
It hasn't ran for a while, so. But I am thinking.
Interesting.
I'm thinking. Again, that's the scary part. I think the weather's been nice, so it's about to go to shit. I know it will, because I'm thinking about taking the food truck out a few days coming up soon. If the weather stays in the 40s, and I'll just take it out by myself.
Ooh. Think you can handle that by yourself?
If I can, it needs to just be sold. Well, and I think Collie's going to be.
I knew that.
And Collie's going to be back. My main guy, he went back home to Alabama, and he's going to be back next week. So I may see if he wants to come and help me. But so it'll turn off snowing and shitty weather and stuff. These days of 40s and 50s, we'll be done with. So, but might start taking the food truck out some decent weather. So.
Well, and that's a full day. You talked about, but so tell me when, because you're cooking barbecue a couple times a week,
right?
Yes,
at least.
So you're doing, because normally when I call you on Sunday morning and we have our little discussion on Sunday morning on the way back from breakfast, you're usually in the middle of slicing brisket or pulling pork, or I usually like to interrupt that.
Yeah,
if I can.
Yeah, usually I Saturdays and Sundays are big cooking days for me. So.
Yeah, yep, getting all your cooking done, and that way they can process it when they come in and
sure.
Get it cryovac and put in the coolers and.
Yep.
Ready to retherm.
Yep. So. Yeah, and I had some people wanting to book some events out in latter part into February with a food truck, and we decided not to do it just because of didn't know what the weather you hate to book, you know, you never know what the weather's going to be, you know, so.
Yeah.
But I can do these short-term deals and get them out on social media and,
yeah.
And we're still kind of moving the direction towards the pop-up meal and stuff. So.
Yeah, the pop-up meal. There was a lot of interest. A lot of people. I was tagged in quite a few posts of like excited to share in that journey because they're interested in doing that. Which made me, you know, when Randy does his pop-up, I'm actually going to be out of town.
So everybody knows we're going to do it January 27th. It's going to be January
27th.
January 27th, and we're going to have it at the Twisted Tree Event and Music Center in Jacksonville. And it used to be, I can't remember what the name of the winery was. It was a winery franchise that Mike Hayes had, and it was a winery just on the very east side of Jacksonville on Morton Avenue. And he dropped the franchise and now calls it the Twisted Tree Music and Event Center. So that's where we're going to have it at on the 27th of Saturday. So
yeah,
we got the date, and the location, and
right now you just got to execute.
Yep, and we're in the process of getting things together. One of the things we decided we're going to have cornbread. So we're getting all our stuff together for cornbread, testing some different cornbread recipes and stuff. And I've got my baker in line for that. Marla.
Yeah, we, you know, it's interesting because the first thing I thought of when I think it was Matt, you know, from one of the teams in Iowa here. And he was talking about, he goes, man, that just sounds interesting to me. It's something I'd really like to do. And I'm like, I got to thinking about that is maybe there's a business there. Maybe there's a business of helping people do a pop-up because, you know, and you know what you're doing, right? But a lot of people, they've never had any restaurant experience and they would just be flustered as hell, but they cook good food. It's just a matter of how do you get it from cooking for 10 to cooking for 200 and putting it all together and the logistics
putting it all together.
Of it. I'm like, you know, maybe that'll become my new hobby is trying to help people with that. Because, you know, I mean, it's nothing. Somebody called me and said, I need to cater 200 people at 5:00 tonight and it's 2:30. I go, fuck yeah, bring it on. Let's go.
Yeah, bring it on.
Because we could knock her out.
Yeah.
We could do it, you know. So it becomes second nature to us.
Well,
but for somebody else, they probably need a lot of consulting.
Well, and the other thing that's come up since is I had some people in Springfield contact me about doing a pop-up in downtown Springfield, but doing it during the lunch hour, because a lot of our business is downtown, like at the hospitals and things like that, and the office is downtown of doing something, because downtown in Springfield is not very prosperous. I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of very prosperous restaurants in downtown Springfield at night and during the day. But I've had a couple people approach me, so I think we're going to start maybe looking for a place. Then I had another lady approach me about doing a rib night. She's got a bar and restaurant out in the middle of nowhere and very successful. And so we may in another couple of weeks just do a big rib night and where people can pre-order ribs and come in.
I mean, hell, that's slam dunk for you. I mean, take an ELEDX, pull outside the back door. You don't really have to worry about health department because she's got the health department. Pull it outside, throw some ribs on, take them in, take a percentage of the profit of the ribs, and off you go.
Yeah, I've got that one on a trailer. Just haul her down there.
Huh. Interesting.
So,
we were going to talk about both. We were going to talk about both of ours, but you know, since we're 48 minutes in, I think we're going to talk about my day in the life.
Okay, let's do that the next time.
You know, on another episode. But you know, there was a couple things that came up. You know, first I was meeting with my PFG. They got a new vice president of sales, and he came in today, and so I took him on the what I thought was going to be the nickel tour and ended up being $2.50.
Yeah,
He
I
got
could
the
imagine.
full in-depth tour about everything from A to Z about Smokey D's and our methodology and everything. And I think we impressed him pretty good about, the way we think and how we deal with relationships and whatever, and part of that came up with, we were talking about paper goods. And Randy and I had this conversation a little bit earlier, was with these, paper goods are a big part. Now, from a big picture standpoint, paper goods to us have always been 3.5%, 4% of sales, right? That's been, and sometimes certain restaurants, if they're all carry out, that may approach 5%. But as a rule of thumb, you kind of want to stay below 4% if you can. 4% of sales on paper goods, clamshells, to-go containers, plastic forks, wet wipes, whatever. So we've always done that. So I was talking to him and I took him on a tour of our storeroom and he goes, wow, you got a bunch of Webstron stuff in here, a bunch of choices their brand. And we use Webstron a lot. And we also use a local purveyor, Iowa Des Moines Supply, but it's been hard to stay competitive with them. And I have a relationship with the owner there and we have a very good relationship and they've jumped through hoops for us. But there's also a balance where the dollar meets the dollar, right? And so, for example, we've always served our little pint. If you come to Smokey D's and want a pint of mac and cheese, we've always put it in this deli tainer, clear deli tainer with a lid. And from that deli tainer standpoint, I started looking at the price of that, and it cost me 13 cents for that container, but it cost me 15 cents for the lid. So I'm 28 cents, a little over a quarter, to send that pint of mac and cheese out. Well, I can go to Webstron, get a beautiful black container, microwavable, with a nice, beautiful lid on the top.
Is it plastic?
Right? A really nice seal tight. No, it's plastic. Yeah, it's plastic, but it snaps on there. It's a pretty good sealing lid. It's not a flexible one. But I can get that for 11 cents, almost 12 cents.
The whole thing.
If I'm spending 28 cents versus 12 cents, that's double the price. And it's better for my customer because if there's any leftovers, they can just pop it in the microwave and reheat it. It's just a win-win. So we've been hot and heavy. We're getting ready to make a big changeover on all our hot sides.
How many of those would you happen to have any idea, ballpark, how many of those you'd go through?
I haven't got to that analysis yet. I know we did, on another subject. So I was sitting there with PFG, and I'm always, if I need something, 4:00 in the afternoon, my guy's already gone. I'll send a message. I'll send a text to the PFG guy, and he always pops right back. I'll say, hey, put this on for tomorrow. Put me on some sliced capicola or something. Just anything that I want to order, not necessarily restaurant related, but anything I want personally. He'll just throw it on the order, and he always answers. He goes, yep, at 4:00, I always try and be at my house with my computer open because I'm going to deal making sure everybody orders correct. Somebody needs to get something in last minute because 5:00's the deadline. Right. And I said, well, hell, I can do that myself. Just give me a login. He goes, no. He says, I want to feel special like you need me. But he said, I'll still give you the login. So anyway, they came out this morning and gave me my login, which I already had. Just didn't know I had it. But go to the login, and we started looking, and he goes, oh, yeah, you can look up reports and usage and all that stuff. And it was crazy. I only got to spend about 5 minutes because I was doing this tour, but 5 minutes at looking at our spend from this past year over year. And I was just blown away.
I'm sure.
The number one item that we buy from a cost perspective, most people would go, oh, it's got to be brisket. Oh, it's got to be
right.
Ribs.
That's what I guess.
It's got to be whatever, right? Got to be pork. Mac and cheese. Now, we stopped making our own mac and cheese. We had it custom blended for us about a year, maybe 2 years ago. And we've made it now where it's to the point that we really are really like it. It's expensive and I don't have the risk. And it was mainly a risk thing, trying to get the risk off of boiling water.
Right.
95,000 pounds of mac and cheese we served last
Holy
year.
shit.
This year.
That's incredible.
This year, from December 22nd of last year to everything we've ordered. 95,000 pounds of mac and cheese.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I'll have a lot more details of as far as looking more into that. But that's just one thing that blew my mind.
One thing else on that Webstront, I said it right that time. On Webstront.
You did say it right. Proud of you.
Yeah. There's going to be people say, well, that's mail order. You got to pay freight. No, you don't. Because you're on that, you do that preferred customer deal.
Well, yeah, if you don't do the preferred customer, I was just talking to my sister who runs a cheesecake company called Shut Your Pie Hole Cheesecake. And so she's still a home kitchen, but just killing it. And we're working on plans of, I've got a general contractor working on a building that I may build down in Southeast Iowa to house her kitchen. And I just rent it back to her. And I've got a guy working on that right now. But, she's like, yeah, but the shipping kills me. The shipping kills me on this stuff because she orders a bunch of cheesecake containers. And I'm like, why aren't you paying $99 a month? $99 a month is just like Amazon Prime. It's free shipping on almost virtually everything. I mean, we're talking restaurant equipment. I'll order restaurant equipment I'll order a $3,000 piece of equipment, free shipping.
Yep.
And so it doesn't take much for that $99. I'd cancel my Prime membership with Amazon and get a Webstront one if I was any sort of business like that.
Yeah. And just like, they do a nice job, they'll take it at the bottom of every order. They'll tell you how much you saved by having that $99 membership. You saved on your freight.
I never get that far. I order it and I get through fast, and it's got Sherry's credit card on. Done. And what I love is it saves the password on my phone, so I can do my phone. I can do it wherever.
Yep. I agree.
Just knocks it out.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, if you're going to order very much, look into that preferred customer deal or kind of their Amazon Prime deal, and it'll save you a lot of money on freight. And then you're not having to get a bunch of stuff in at once. So,
right. The other thing, Randy had a little message from one of our mutual friends out in South Dakota that we thought we'd answer the question, and maybe that's how we end.
Yeah.
About catering and gratuities and service charges.
Yeah, Scotty, a friend of ours out in South Dakota, he sent me again another medium of communications on Microsoft Messenger. Wanted to know if Darren and I, if we charged a service fee and if we charged automatically charged gratuity, and if we put that on there and had it as a line item on our invoices for caterings. And I think along with that is I'm seeing more and more catering banquet facilities charging a banquet charge, a charge for using their facility charge also, and how you handle that also. I know how we do.
So what you got? What do you do, Randy? For drop off versus full service.
For drop off, we'll charge a delivery fee. We charge a delivery fee.
How's that based?
It's $30. And if it's in Jacksonville, which is here at home, we don't charge it.
Okay.
But if it's in Springfield or out in the outlying areas, we'll charge that delivery fee.
So $30 kind of whatever.
Yeah.
What if you're going to Beardstown?
I'm going to charge them $30.
$30.
And I don't charge any gratuity. I leave that up to the customer. If they think they want to charge gratuity, give us a gratuity, they can do it.
On a delivery.
On any catering or anything. I don't charge any. There's no line item. The only way they can add it onto their payment, but I charge no gratuity.
Sure.
I figure we're doing them.
So you're saying the customer. So let's say I've got 50 people.
And
if I got a choice between dropping off in foil pans or you coming and serving it full banquet style with the nice Twyford boxes, Randy's got some really kick-ass looking boxes that the Schaefer pans fit in. Instead of them, boring stainless steel ones, they fit right down. They look super nice. If you look out on his website, I think he's got them out there. But it's just a nice touch, say Twyford barbecue on them. And we've never got to that point that we have them, and I'm jealous of that because they are super nice and look super professional. But so you're saying if you go do that, if they want you to serve, you'll come serve it, no extra charge.
We won't serve it, but we'll set up the chafers for it.
Well, you set up the chafers and keep somebody there to restock.
Yeah.
Right.
Free
of charge.
Yeah, and we just never have charged for that, and we should. Yeah. And there's probably other catering companies.
That's interesting.
There's probably other catering companies in the area that have two different prices, have a drop-off price and have another price. Now, I did a very large catering yesterday for a new customer in Springfield, and they had multiple pans of everything, 3 and 4 pans of every item that they got. If I'd have done a drop off, there'd have just been 3 or 4 pans of stuff piled on a table. I set it all up for them, and they said, "You don't need to stay. We'll take care of it." And I left a Cambro there with the replacements in it. When I came back, I had the person, I'm not going to give away what the person's position was because it'll be obvious.
Right.
But she came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for doing this. Nobody else has ever taken the time to set up the warmers and stuff. And it looks so nice." And it was for their Christmas party. And she said, "Everything looks so nice and so professional. You will definitely be hearing from us again."
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, and also I was out, and I would have stayed there. I had kind of planned on staying there and taking care of it, but they were having their Christmas party. And they're like, "No, you don't need to stay here. We've got this." But I had to pack it all up two floor up through an elevator and stuff. But that was worth it. But should we have?
Did you get a tip? Did you get a good tip?
You know what? I wish I could show you the envelope I got. I haven't had the courage to go through it. They're like, "Here's the payment." There's, I think, like 15 or 18 different checks in it, and then a bunch of cash in it. So I'm like, "What the?" Your wife would have had a fit if one of your people would have brought it back. "What the fuck is this?" But that's, everybody pitched in on it, and stuff to pay for the dinner, And
yeah, that's interesting. So we're a little more structured on ours, so we're going to charge a delivery fee unless you're right down across the street or whatever. But normally our delivery fee, Des Moines Metro, if we've always charged $15 going downtown, and 15 going downtown's about 5 miles away from us, but we've always charged $15, kind of 25 miles anywhere in the metro area. And if we're going to Ames, we should be charging 35 and whatever. And so there's really no rhyme or reason. It's just kind of whatever we think. To me, it needs to be more structured. But the difference is, and the customer can leave gratuity. We don't charge gratuity, but when they place their order, and we send them a payment link, because Randy and I both use the same software now. We send them a payment link, and they can put their own gratuity whether they want to or not.
And that has increased our gratuities.
Yeah, and all the gratuities come back, and it gets split amongst the people that do the caterings and da. So anyway, but when we do a serve, we charge a straight 20% gratuity. Okay,
do you really?
Get a 20% gratuity. Now a little bit of that goes back to the house. To pay for the chafers, the things, whatever. And it's always the fight amongst the catering crew that, "Well, you got to keep part of our gratuity." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you buy the chafers,
the equipment,
and get the linens cleaned every week, and You just do that, you're fine, you can keep it. But so that's what's, as I go into the new year, one of my projects that I need to get to Florida and work on, because that's the only time I can get anything done, is moving towards a certain service charge and a gratuity on service. Because believe it or not, if you don't put that gratuity on there and you're paying people, it's different if you're doing it yourself. But when I'm hiring people to go out and do things, if they go out there, there's people that won't tip, right? They just won't tip at all. So now I'm telling people, like our servers, they make $5 an hour. Now, when they get done with gratuities, they really make about $40 an hour. But a typical wedding, they can go out and make $250, $300 on a Saturday night, working 3 or 4 hours, and it's a great gig for them, and I love it. But from a customer, 20%. Now I'm going to bring that down because I don't want to charge any more from 20%, but I think I'm going to go down to maybe like a 2 or 3% service charge to cover Schaefer's and whatever, and then an 18% gratuity. And that service charge then goes back to and up to a certain point, maybe with a minimum and max. So maybe I'm 3% service charge, minimum $100, up to $200, $250, so that I can cover. A lot of times we charge one delivery fee and take 2 vans.
Right, and we've had to do that too.
So when you add the cost associated with that, I mean that's just it's crazy. So it's always a thing. And one thing that people always forget about is when you do tips. Think about when you put tips and they come back and you put them on payroll. As an employer, we're paying 3% credit card processing fee or thereabouts, and we're paying 7% FICA on that money. So every one of those tips that we just give back out to the employee, 10% of that, it cost us 10%. So for every $1,000 in tips, we direct pay out $100 of that. And we really don't even take an account for that. We do it on our restaurant tips because our restaurant's so big that we're dealing with $8,000 to $10,000 a week in tips that gets spread out amongst everybody in the restaurant according to what they work. But everybody always forgets about that credit card processing fees. And since it goes on payroll, the 7%, FICA that gets charged that we pay for. So it's just interesting, but I'm not sure there's the right answer. But I do think if people want full service, they should pay.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether they call that a gratuity service, but I don't like this pile on stuff that here's a service charge and a tax and gratuity, whatever. But I'm a strong believer that when you're delivering, you pay a delivery fee to somewhat cover the cost of that vehicle, even though there's no delivery fee ever going to, even $35. I guarantee by the time you're if you send an employee out and count their time, even if they only make $20 an hour, and it takes them an hour to go make that round trip, that's $20 plus the cost of the van, plus the fuel, whatever. There's no way in hell you're covering cost. But hey, we say it's part of doing business, right? But if somebody wants full service, I'm a strong believer in, they should be paying, upwards of, 20%, whether that includes gratuity or service charge or some mixture. I don't think that's a unfair ask.
The other fee that's kind of came up here in the last couple of years with us is facility fees. That banquet facilities are charging us maybe a 10 or a 15% fee on top of what the bill, on top of the bill.
Right. So you're just passing that on to a customer. Are you eating that too?
Yeah. No, we're not eating it, but they want us to. There's one location that we can't I put it on a line item on the bill. And then when the customer, when I send them the final proposal, they're like, "What's this?" And I explain it to them and they're like, "Well, I'm already paying rent for that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but this is also
call your contact."
Call your contact, And there's been a few times that then the contacts called us and say, "We're waiving that, on so and so." But
waive it all you want.
There's one that says we don't want it on a line item. We don't want it as a line item on there.
They want it just mixed into your price.
Which, yeah.
Hey, I'll hide it whatever way you want to hide it, right?
Yeah. So, well, we've talked long enough. But I hope that's helped,
we
Scotty.
Talked long enough.
Scotty, I hope that answers. Yep. I don't know whether we answered your questions or not, whether it's right or wrong. It's just kind of what you need to do and stuff. So,
and what the market will bear. That's what everything comes. You can charge $50 a pound for brisket if the market will bear it, and if the market won't bear it, then people aren't going to buy it. So if people aren't going to buy it, there's no sense in charging $50.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So anyway,
well,
everybody,
it's Merry Christmas time.
Yeah, it's Merry Christmas. Everybody have a happy holiday. This next week, everybody will be on kind of the stroke, not hitting it very hard. And will you be very busy this coming? Well, you're going to Florida, but will the restaurant be very busy this week?
No, we'll die off. We'll die off for the week, but January used to die off till about March. But I tell you what, catering, there is more company Christmas parties that get catered in January than in December anymore.
We're seeing some of that too.
Business, if you don't have your place booked up on January, don't think January is going to be a slow month, because it's a crazy busy month for us. And
yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see, but we're knocking them out. We got a big weekend coming up catering. We're actually got customer pickups. Normally we just set up a banquet room for just one day on Christmas Eve and knock all the orders out. We got so much shit going on. We're setting up that room Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because we got anywhere from 70 to 100 orders a day going out. So we're going to set up our distribution center that we do for all our things, and off we go. And by the time people are listening to this, Christmas will be over in my book, and we'll be ready for the new year.
Boom. It'll be done. So everybody have a nice holiday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey guys, Emma here. If you haven't already, follow us on social media. We are at Cue the Mic Pod on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, X. There I go. We are also on YouTube at Cue the Mic Podcast. You can find all of our episodes on there, like those videos, comment on those videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys get notified every Monday when new episodes come out. And if you haven't yet, rate our show. Leave a little review. Let us know how we're doing. We love to hear the feedback.
Adios.
Okay. Adios.